Recording is on. Okay. Hang on, buddy. I'm just trying to figure out the entry point.
It's always quite amusing when I look at the transcripts. It usually starts with
All right, so I've managed to strip down a lot of the function signature of what the platform offers. A bit of consolidation has occurred, but a vast simplification. And so this diagram, the TX tools.
Oh, you're not displaying. I don't know if you.
Fartsack.
Oh, there you go.
It's because you.
I took over.
Yeah. Interaction tools stays largely the same. This is still pending the addition I need to make that will make it thread aware, but that hasn't come up as a problem yet. I have taken agent tools. So again, because NFS is this effectively a big shared database by the fact that it's this shared file system. In this class, I list what parts of the file system get modified by this tool set.
Okay.
So agent create makes the default agent, which is the blankest of the blank agents. And from that, you then mutate it with set system prompt, set working instructions. When you're satisfied with it as being something, you can go create image. You could have done this mutation on a running image to produce another version, destroy image, and destroy agent.
Okay, so can I just check? So the workflow, I could create. I could prompt say, right, give me a new agent.
Yep.
Does it? Then I go make this the system prompt.
Yep.
And then it would update that agent while that agent was available and running.
Yep.
Okay. And similar with working instructions, list we've talked about the status. Okay.
List just lists all your agents, but what it is supposed to do now is when you list it, it also lists what image the agent was started from. So it allows you to
its original source kind of thing.
Provenance, the provenance of the agent configuration.
All right.
And so what that means is when you have an item, you can talk about it or name it theoretically by its image or by its agent. So you can, I think of image like its role, and its name is like its actual, birth name or whatever.
Okay. I think we agreed it was a prompting thing with agent list, which was just to give you a little, single sentence. What does this do?
Yeah, but that is actually not a programming.
Yeah, it's an agent level.
Yeah, that's an agent thing. It feels like there's a class of hooks that need to go into the platform that can trigger things like when new interaction or when new chat item do this, when file change do this. So you can have an agent and then you can jack in other agents that are going to be triggered when some activity happens within that agent. So you can, for example, trigger the summarization agent to run at the end of each thing, or you could make the agent do the summarying itself just as a separate process that it just runs.
I've never successfully got an agent to tell me what it does. But
no, not it's not
tell me what another one.
Not in thread. What you would do is you would trigger it to use a new session of Codex to read the last update and the files that have changed since then, so the chat items that have changed since then, and the file system commits, the repo commits that have happened since then,
Mm-hmm.
and update the summary.
Mm-hmm.
So, but
And that summary shouldn't change that much. We're talking about a
uh
very high level summary. You're a weather app, as
oh,
opposed
you
to
want you want a sorry, you want a summary based on the image. So you want an image description.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay, well you're free to you need one extra hook then, one extra tool, which is if I go create image, you might also want to modify the description. Like you want to you're talking about summarizing the image, and I think that should be done by whoever calls agent create,
yeah.
right?
That makes
But
sense.
like
Yeah.
if I keep going talking about the new way that I expect the entire system to work, particularly for discovering images, the need for that field might dissipate somewhat.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Okay. All right.
okay,
Yeah.
the next
Careful.
set of tools, image tools. There was a whole bunch of functions that were here before. They have been replaced entirely by just this one function, image use. Um, image use takes the image ID that you want to use and accepts optionally an affinity, which is do I want a new one every time? Do I want to reuse the agent provided its image is still pristine from when it was booted?
Yeah.
Or do I just want to use anything that was booted from this image and exists?
Yeah. Yeah.
Now,
And if exists is not pristine by definition of the or, how does it differ?
pristine means that it was booted from the image and it hasn't been altered since. So none of the mutation methods like set system prompt or any of that has been run
Mm-hmm.
on the agent since it was booted from that image.
Mm-hmm.
So the integrity of it is still assured, like it still does what it says on the tin.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. And if exists is
You'll take it. If it was booted from that image, you don't care. If it was modified, you'll just take it.
we're talking about running instances, or are we talking about the off-the-shelf images at this point?
These affinity, the affinity discriminator refers to the running agent, if any. So all three of these options, if there was no running agent, we'll make a new one.
Right.
But
Right.
if new doesn't care if there's a running agent already, it will always make a new one. So that one gets used, for instance, in the landing agent. When I come in on a web browser and I haven't specified the agent, the landing agent, it implies to me, if you land with a browser, it implies that you want a new agent. And so that's
Mm-hmm.
why I use new every time.
Okay. What's the priority of choice here? It's like check if something exists. Do you care if it's been changed?
The
To
priority
go to.
doesn't matter. It's you choose one.
All right. And if you don't choose one, it's going to
Oh, what's
flop
the
to
default?
new. Yeah.
Nah, default is if exists.
All right. Okay. So it's going to prioritize if it exists, and if it
Yeah.
doesn't exist,
But
then it's going to go to
if
new.
you didn't say anything, if you didn't specify or you don't care about the affinity, it's just going to use if exists.
Right. Okay. But if it doesn't exist, then it's going to flop to new,
If it
and
doesn't
it'll go
exist,
back.
then it will go to new anyway. There is no other move to make, I don't think.
No, you're right. Yeah, because if exists is uh, let me think about this. If pristine, there'll be uh, Yeah, it's like if you care about pristine, then you should say it. Otherwise, new and if exists is are the two, right?
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Now, why I think you might not care so much about that description is that what this does is it fires up a special image that does the searching for images. And that is
Mm-hmm.
a natural language agent that you chat to. And so when it reads, like if we don't prompt it at all and we simply tell it where the images are stored, it will have no option but to read what the contents of each image is. And
Mm-hmm.
so it will determine for itself what the description is based on the constituency of the image, which is better than a description because a description can drift or it cannot capture something important. Whereas if the find agent, the searching agent, reads the whole image, it's gonna give you back the right answer. It could even give you a summary. Like you could just because you can use this agent to tell you an image ID in a semi-automated fashion doesn't mean that you as a human can't just go talk to it anyway and be like, "Hey, what does this image do?" or "Give me a summary of all the images in the system," and it could do it for you.
Okay. Can I walk through that a bit in the way I've been using it in order to do workflows?
Okay.
I've been talking to a landing agent, so a new agent, and been talking about a workflow, and it's like, oh right, we need 5 agents to do this. Show me the ASCII art of the flow. Yep, that's right. Create all the images. Now, when I say yep, go, it would look through images. Now, what about close matches? It's like this image does 90% of what you want.
That's with all due respect, my friend, that's your problem.
Yeah, no, I knew you were going to say that. Yeah,
This
that's
is
fair.
right. Like, cause it is your problem. It's
No, that's
it's
absolutely fair one.
this
Yeah,
this is this is me handing off the system. I'm like, I
yeah.
think that my job ends at agent boot,
I got halfway through that sentence and then I thought, I know the answer to this. I've got to get to
right?
the end of the sentence
And
now.
the thing is, like, this model is so clean that it like requires very little from the platform. Like the platform, all it's got to do is just be able to create the bare bones of agents enough for you to get going. Keeping in mind that you're welcome to hand edit the files or bot edit the files directly. It's just saying that there are certain arrangements of certain files, like images, that have to be system managed to guarantee the longevity of the system or the incorruptibility of the system. The reliability depends on it being done by MCP tools, right? So I gotta hold those ones so that you can't really shoot your foot off unless you really try hard.
Yeah,
Like, and
yeah.
but at that point, honestly, every single thing is just a plain text interaction, just a chat.
There is a screaming need, and again, this comes into prompting for an agent creator helper.
Absolutely.
So it's like, you've been talking about this workflow. You've just asked for 5 agents. All right, let me help you with that one. Right, that's a new one. Oh, we got something similar to that. You might want to alter its sysprompt a bit. Do you want me to do that? This one, yeah, that's fine. That's straight off the shelf and so forth. And then weave the whole thing into new agents with our workflow. And now you're up and running.
Hmm.
But that's probably my next task to look at. I did probe into the agent creator helper
Hmm.
a bit, but I've not completed it yet. But it doesn't seem that hard
None
because
of it's that hard. The
it's
the 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 first major structure that we got to get going is the not the agent creator, but the agent improver, where it takes a created agent, however that may be, some feedback about it that says, oh, it doesn't do this or it doesn't do that, and then it adds to an ever growing list of evals that it knows have to pass for that agent, and
Mhm.
then it loops to make the agent good. Like,
So I might be getting a bit ahead of what you're talking through here, but one of the things I'm interested in is being able to take these agents and maybe tweak some as a workflow and so on. And every workflow seems to need an entry agent,
mm-hmm,
um, which knows about all the other ones. And so you
mm-hmm,
just have to talk to the entry agent
yep,
and then stash those as images for reuse because a lot
yep,
of them will be, basically the same stuff.
yep.
So it's that stash thing, I think.
The stash is
Uh,
image create,
yeah, I think you've already covered
agent
that.
create image. And the reason is that a useful thing to note is register scope.
Uh huh.
Register scope means you can either register it inside yourself as the agent so that nothing higher than than the agent that's doing the image create will know about that image,
All right. Okay, that's cool.
which allows you to override names, reuse names, keep things local until you're ready to register scope computer, which says
Which
that
is
this will change it. This will set the image to be available computer wide.
right. And computer, it's almost like org level, company level. You're all working on the same computer. You're all
Yeah,
working inside the same perimeter.
right. That's right. That's right.
Yeah. Okay, that's good.
And
That
there's
works.
probably some extra nuance or extra scopes that we want to add, like network wide or something like that. But
Or
for
public.
now, like self and computer, like I want to keep it private or I want to make it public, seemed like all you
Yeah, but
to
the
get
public
started with.
only reaches if you've got authority to be inside the computer
Yeah,
perimeter,
yeah,
um, which isn't the same as the entire world has access to it.
correct.
So
Yeah.
there is probably something like public where I'm not sure how we do that.
There's a number of different things there, but this is definitely enough to get going, I believe.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Um, so that makes image finding really simple. I stripped out stucks because it made me realize that stucks are just agents
Yeah.
and repos. They're actually not critical to the system. That they're not. They don't need a
Uh,
platform
to-
level hook.
totally agree with that. It's definitely an agent level
Yeah.
thing.
Repo tools I split out. So now repo tools is split into repo control tools as well. So repo control tools are ones that let you make a new repo and remove a repo at the computer level.
Hmm.
Um, Actually, maybe a better name for that is computer repo tools, and that's where you control it at the top level. But these tools, repo tools, are intended to be given to practically every agent. You can do repo list to learn what repos are available on the computer. You can do repo workspace checkout, which will check out the repo that you got the name of from repo list, and you
Hmm.
check it out into the agent's workspace. Um, and you can do repo workspace status, which allows you to understand which repos you have already.
Having checked out, if I make changes and someone else is doing something on the file I'm working on, how do we get the merge diff conflict thing? Sorry, how
So
is that done?
two agents are working on the same file.
Yeah, on
So
ultimately say two people
Two
happen to
people,
be
they're on separate
both
branches,
checked
right?
out. Yeah, both
Yeah,
check out, but you want to kind of merge, and they've been working on different parts of a big
yeah.
file, let's say. Like
Who's doing the merge?
either one should be able to, I'm guessing.
Well, I don't
But
know.
someone needs to.
Yeah, so generally there'd be a one particular agent would become the project master, or the would manage the main branch,
Hmm.
and that agent would consider when other agents' branches need to be merged in, and so
Hmm.
that agent would deal with the conflicts by way of either telling the agent to sort it out, be like, hey buddy, your pull request has got conflicts. Because what could have happened is an agent worked earnestly, did its job, there were no conflicts, end of turn, right? It's just waiting for someone to come along.
Yeah.
Someone else is doing the same and they end, no conflicts. But then, like, the branch master or the project master merges in one change, and now there's conflicts with the others. And so at that point, the branch master might say, fix your conflicts, fix your conflicts, fix you, and would trigger those agents to spin up and whir away again.
And may need to ask for further information. For example, if two people have changed the same sentence in a text file,
Mm.
it's like how it can't decide which one is better or worse.
Yeah,
Probably the people
or
can, right?
even more
Yeah,
helpfully, the bots are able to decide if it's semantically the same or close enough,
yeah.
particularly because I expect the majority of our work will actually be prompting and in English. It won't, I don't expect the majority of our work will be code, because I'm starting to wonder what is code for now if the problem comes in plain text and the instruction goes out in plain text, and I can, the human, me the human, I read it in plain text. I'm like, what code would I want really?
Yeah, this is definitely not a coding thing. In fact, it shouldn't be a coding thing because, again, the cognitive load thing. You don't really want to go back to the authors of, a, they're clashed on a particular sentence. You kind of want, ideally, an agent who understands what the overall intent of the project is to decide. Maybe we'll merge, maybe discard one, use the other one, and so on. But if it appropriately knows what's trying to do, it feels wrong kind of pushing out to the authors again, saying, right, you guys need to get on the phone and decide whose sentence this is. It's like, that's quite high overhead.
Right.
But if it knows the intent, it should be able to choose, and it will be able to choose whether it gets it right every time. That'll be down to prompting. Okay.
I'm gonna do some bad shit right now.
Okay.
I'm gonna make some commits that I don't wholeheartedly agree with,
Oh.
because the bot has managed to make the tests pass, but I don't agree with how it went about it. And I'm going to roll these changes back once we finish. However, I do wish for the system to be operational.
You just do
So,
a commit with a commit message, roll this back.
yes, so that I don't forget.
Feels
I'm
like there should
going
be a
to.
black mark somewhere.
There is a black mark. This is another black mark. Get push dash dash forth. No one should do that. But here we are. Okay, so now we'll wait for that to build. Um, yeah, so repo create, computer tools. Look, we really don't need these. They're there more for completeness. You may wish to list computers that you have, destroy them and whatever. So
Okay.
that
Yeah.
seems to be the entire function signature of the platform. I think that's all that we need.
I can't
And
fault that statement.
it very quickly becomes all about prompting.
And the computer is where's the limits on one computer currently stand?
Name a dimension and I'll tell you a limit.
Say if I wanted to run up number, 1,000 agents. Is that too much? 10,000, million?
No, I got our machine limit with Flight.io lifted to 1,000. So you would be right on the limit.
Right. Okay.
And that's
So
running too.
there's
That's running. So paused is so not without a host running, the limit is in the millions.
right because it's just static.
Well,
Yeah.
that's when NFS starts to slow down a bit for this type of thing. There are tricks that we can do to get more, less, whatever. But for any given computer, it's rough. Once you get to a million, you've got probably other problems would start to appear, I'd imagine. We can easily do a stress test to see how it handles a million, but
That's
it's
good enough for
really
now.
not that big a deal.
Yeah. We're not going to go to a million anytime soon.
I wouldn't say that.
But the interesting thing is there is a limit. It's not going to be reached. If it does get reached, then we probably need to
Yeah,
uh,
it's practically infinite.
yeah. The reason I was asking is about um, one agent on one computer talking to another agent on a separate computer.
What's the question?
Say if we reach a limit of 1,000 running because it's terribly successful and so on, so we hit the size of the tin. We go to the natural thing would be then to create another computer, but somehow make the two computers talk to each other as if it was one.
You're
But we don't
probably
have to
not
deal with that
gonna.
now. Yeah, that
Yeah,
that's a that would be a lovely problem to have because of
that's really you're really not gonna have that problem, and that's not the way to fix that either. Um,
hmm
yeah. Sorry, mate. I'll just get this up,
yeah.
and then we can have some fun. Um, so that feels like the platform signature. What I mean, what else could it be? Like, what else are you missing here?
Go to the top again. We've gone through this in quite a lot of detail. So at the kind of top level, so we've got everything we need to interact with agents. We've got everything we need to create, destroy, instantiate agents and images.
Yep.
And you've got um, just in your back pocket the computer tools.
Yep.
The networking of workflows can be done inside of agents. That's an agent thing.
Networking. You mean like
This
do
agent
this
talks
and
to
then
yeah,
tell this
yeah,
agent?
yeah, or spin 10 instances up, get them all to do it, and then give their answers to one agent, get them to average it, and then give me back the
Hmm.
answer. That sort of thing.
Yep. We can also include code because like code can make these tool calls as well. So that works. That works too.
And
So you could get a bot that wrote a little bit of code that ran the workflow using the reliability of code, but
mhm.
it was just making interaction calls to different agents at each time, and then
So
just
you could like bake it in the oven, and it's
bake it.
like
Yeah, compile it.
yeah, compile it, yeah, and we're not. I think we've agreed we're not dealing with putting a pretty face on it yet.
Yeah, but we can do. That's the thing. It occurred to me that it's very easy to make a web page that just showed the chat, the latest chat that you're in, gave you an input box and all that. So you can basically do a ChatGPT clone on this, no problem. Probably the most practical thing is to make a terminal UI that has down one side, it's got all your agents, so you can navigate your agents. Next to it is a column that has all the chats for that agent, so you can navigate those chats. And then in the main panel is the state board, which can be like a particular chat that you want to talk about or whatever. So we can put arbitrary pretty faces on it. The way this, if you can't tell from my voice, I'm very excited about is this concept. So the image names I have reserved at image search because that's the one agent you need to get going and find the other agents.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there may be another one that's like find running agents or find my friends or other things like that, but that's kind of doable with just the MCP tools. But either way, this is so far that agent is the only one you need. But then I've got landing web. So this is an image that is when you come in on the web page, it runs that agent. That agent need not have a VS Code view. It could have a, you know, just a chat GPT chat thread could be all it showed you. It could be a voice agent. So I've got a reserved name for landing voice. So we could hook up a phone call service to our agents. When a new phone call comes in, it would find the next available voice capable agent, direct the traffic to that agent, and then that agent starts speaking back to you. So
Yeah.
in
Okay.
terms of a pretty face, we can do not only web based faces, not only shell based or CLI based faces, but also multimodal. So like email, voice, um, Twitter feeds, like the whole lot can work in this model.
So can I just test this a second? Because I was asked this question the other day, and it's quite a nice pattern when I thought about it afterwards. It was very specific. It was like a company that had, I think they said, 5 different database or places that they would go, and they were having to hunt and peck around it. There's like they had an Oracle one, they had email, whatever, 5 of them, and what they were looking for was a single place to go in and talk to the lot all at once. But they seem to be quite keen on it being a portal. Now, my preference would be that go with CLI because it's just so lightweight and
People can have a portal if they want. It's just like I ain't gonna build it for them. But
the another question is how would it be built? Not that would do it, but because you get into all sorts of UI arguments. But what are the hooks for? If I
oh,
wanted
you
to
just build it.
static HTML,
Yeah. So if I was, what's an easy way to show this? So here I am in this agent, right? Democratic hamster.
yeah,
I hit refresh, and now what I'm getting is this this VS Code interface here.
yeah.
Now if I go, give me a second. This demo will be worth it. I promise you.
Right, no worries. Bind. not seen find. Okay.
So I'm in an agent, right?
Yeah. Okay. Worky, 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 worky.
Worky, worky, thinky, thinky. Oh, come on. You're sitting in a data center. What could be taking so long?
Probably cat videos.
I know, I know. It's because it's installing it over the NFS share. Okie dokie. Now I go up here. Go colon 517. Hey.
Oh, it's localhost, but you're going over a DNS.
And that's the Vite thing.
Huh.
And then if I go into
How's
here.
that working?
Oh, and then that magic. And then I say edit smacks. I save it. I come over here and it says edit smacks. So if you want to front end, buddy, right? And then if you really want to get fancy, fuck, you should not fat finger the keyboard in VR. That's what you should do. Democratic Hamster, Vite Project, Codex. Okay, make this web page rage.
Okay.
And now I don't know what it's going to do, but my point is that this is how easy it is to.
Right. So the solution exists, basically.
The solution to all solutions is here.
This is a bit of magic you're doing here, and I've never seen Vite. But if it does,
All it is it's just a web front end framework that lets you make React apps. It does bundling.
You can deploy that, and it'll still access the agents.
You can deploy it on the agents. Yep. You can make you can put API calls in there so it can call back into the running agent. You could make it call across different agents. You could give it the interaction API. You could give it MCP tools. Hell, you could make this thing have the MCP tools that the agent itself had, and then it can decide when it wants to make those calls.
Okay, that is kind of cool.
I got no bloody.
See, just retry limit.
Something's gone bung. I'm gonna give up at this point because I need to actually debug it. It's just not distributed yet.
This is not for us, but the solution exists. And
yeah, so you can use the agent to host anything you want. Now the only little wrinkle is this port here, but it's very easy in the config to see this has got no port because it's on the default. So you could just like switch that out and make that the default and make this be accessed on a port number.
Right. So by deploy, you could stick this on a public server. and it would still be able to find the
You,
agents that are active.
no, that would not work without a bit more plumbing. The best
Hmm.
way to do it is to use the agents to do the hosting because, like, this, you're in an agent. You're talking to an agent right now. This app
Right.
has direct access to that agent. You,
Right, but there's a publicly addressable URL there with a port, fine,
yep,
and we can get rid of the port you just
correct.
said.
Yep,
So you could um, minimize that URL if you wanted. There's a
sure.
link. Click on the link. Boom.
Yep,
Now you're in pretty land.
pretty land.
All right. Okay. That's cool.
Any
There's
web
probably
app
more
you
than
want,
one of these. Sorry.
any web app you want, pretty much no problem.
Yeah.
If you also want a CLI or a terminal UI, also strangely no problem.
Hmm.
If you want a voice interface like a SIP telephony interface, little bit more dancing, but same principle. We
Mm-hmm.
can do that. But I guess the deeper question is why would we do that service for anyone? Because what are we doing?
Huh. You, this is the perennial question.
I'm
Uh,
sorry. I just.
the reason I was asking about this is because you were asking, is there anything inside of that schema that
Oh, that's
is
missing? Yeah, okay.
incomplete?
And so this
Um,
answers that question, right?
yeah, and I can't think of anything else because right now with this on a CLI inside of an agent, boom, you get the whole, you know, unadulterated power of the
That's
entire
right. Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
But people always want, oh, can I, you know, can you make it pretty? I was like, but the fact that there is a path to making it pretty doesn't mean we need to make it pretty. I don't care about pretty, but others do. Okay, I didn't understand anything about that prompt. What was that? Remove search from supervisor request
It,
published test.
yeah,
Is it
it was.
does it matter?
Oh, no, it was just. It. This is what's holding up the deployment because I was really hoping to show you these tools in motion. I hope you can see that it's really in the stage of like ironing out the bugs as opposed
Yeah,
to like I
yeah.
don't know what I'm doing. It's like this interface is feeling very stable to me. Like I'm like it what else are you gonna do, right? The complexity is in the agent image. Like the agent image can is a full blown VM. You can do everything, anything with that. We, the platform, handle the scaling. We
Yeah,
handle
I mean,
the
and the agent could be prompted to know the in a workflow the image ID of the next image to hand off its work
mm, yeah.
to this agent, and it goes, "Oh, right, got you on it.
Yeah,
Hand off
like
to the
I'm
next one,
sure there will be
and it's
some
gone."
weird things that'll crop up because there always are. But at this point, I'm like, it feels feature complete. Like I'm not able to, on my own, think up a solution that isn't just fucking gibberish. That also isn't met by this.
No, I can't either. So,
So
I
that
think
could
there's
well
probably
be.
diminishing returns at this point. Trying
Yep.
to think if we're finding it so hard to figure out whether this is feature complete,
Yeah, we
then
just
at
use it,
least we
right?
could say it's 90%, right?
It's
Sure.
the well, I mean that's generous, but yeah, let's just go with it.
Yeah. Yeah. Agreed.
So now what?
Um,
I have more things to talk about that aren't related to this platform,
okay.
but I'm
Well,
free to also talk
let's talk
about.
about those things, and then I'd like your thoughts on what do I do next. Mostly because I'm booting up from that gap that we were talking about. My time, so I've got an opportunity to reboot into a different area or continue with what I was doing, which was basically trying
Well,
to mess with it.
what I thought I cared about, no, what I do care about is ambient attribution.
Yeah.
But how would you do ambient attribution in this system?
Well, you'd create a workflow that the pieces of work being done were captured by, let's just say, contribution capture agent inside of a repo. And then uh, you would periodically run the ambient attribution, possibly on a payment event and saying who's owed what. It doesn't have to just be that. It could be NFTs. It could be, just bragging rights. But that ambient attribution would then decide, based on the contribution record, uh, who who gets what. And it, I think the first shot of that, I think we should let the AI agent flop to whatever it seems useful, because way back when we're talking about ambient attribution, we struggled to figure out how to get our teeth into, well, is it the number of times this line of code is run? Is that the value? But then it's like, well, how about the project manager? He's added value, or the original ideation guy. He's
Right.
given value. But
Right.
if we let
So,
the
all right. So, really, just you're saying we'll just we've got a plan for how we want to write the first version of ambient attribution. We should get on and do it, right?
yeah,
Because it was an
and
exception based system. It's like first of all the bot flops, then the affected parties argue.
right, and remember, we were talking about a long time ago now. Um, ambient attribution gives its right. You get this, you get that, you get that, and there's, I think we were talking about a 2 week period where you can put in arguments,
Hmm.
and all we're doing there is we're using those arguments, and we're going to have an improver bot looking at the sysprompt of the ambient attribution and saying you're consistently getting arguments in this place.
Yeah, I think my question was different to the one that I asked. My
Okay.
question is really, are agents enough to do ambient attribution? Agents and repos.
I think agents are the only way to do it.
The only way. That's
Yeah.
okay. That's novel. All right. So, in a separate but related area, we spent a lot of time drawing out or mapping out what we thought the ecosystem of the Dreamcatcher looked like, where we had a number of key actors, like we had the
Builders.
trader,
Yeah.
the contributor, the all those
Yeah.
different actors, and they had these fixed methods, moves that they could make within
Yeah.
the ecosystem, right?
Yeah.
Now, we designed that system for humans. We glossed over a bunch of facts like the cognitive load that is required of a human to participate in the Dreamcatcher because we were hoping that we could ease that using artificial intelligence methods, right?
Yeah.
But in actual fact, it seems that that method we came up with, we were aiming for the ultimate in efficiency for innovation, problem solving, right? We
Mm-hmm.
were aiming for incentives to be aligned.
Uh-huh.
When I sort of muffle the words a bit and look at it from a distance, they sound, the terms we use in that ecosystem sound a lot like reinforcement learning terms. And so it
That's
makes me
interesting.
wonder if what we really have been chasing is a method of doing deep learning on at the next level up, because we've got all these great fruits of deep learning that came in these individual agents. But when they get together and do stuff, there's a different kind of deep learning that has to occur to know which patterns, which arrangements of agents are best at solving what kinds of problems. If you're an agent and you're posed with a problem, what is your best next move? It's certainly not the one that you want to make as an independent, isolated agent. It will be the one that you make within this system of rules that's been trained from synthetically generated data. It's not even synthetic. Like, if we set the bots about solving problems and we use the Dreamcatcher as the means by which they can cross communicate and hoist their own problems, because, pardon my jumping around, this multi gigawatt data center is not capable of running all the queries that the agents are going to want to make if they were just allowed to run everything. And so there needs to be an incentive mechanism to ration out the scarce resources, which is compute time, and the Dreamcatcher provides a very good, earnest way for that to happen. It's particularly suitable. Like, we spent so much time engineering the algorithm of the Dreamcatcher to handle bad actors, slovenly actors, intermittent actors. If you control all the agents in the field, and they are all earnest actors, a lot of those problems aren't really present. And so by running the agents as the Dreamcatcher to just solve whatever problems they're solving, they start to create hoisting incentive mechanisms where they start to spend money. And you can even imagine different calibers of agents. Like GPT Pro might be given a lot of money to allocate, and its job is really just to sit back and place money markers that the agents are programmed to chase. Multiple agents hitting the same problem is a deduplicating problem. That's always valuable. And so it's almost like the algorithm we designed is better off being not really used by humans all that much.
That's an interesting thought. I think it might be onto something because we spent all that time in order to effectively make a marketplace that optimized innovation
Correct.
and the rules around it. We were expecting humans to be each of the agents.
Correct.
And all you're saying there is probably agents can do a better job than humans.
Yes, but also agents need a system like this because they lack a little what humans sort of blunder through. The agents don't have that ability. Like, they are kind of, in a way, the worst innovators because they like really can get properly lost.
Yeah. And stuck in, I don't know what the term would be, kind of ideation loops.
Yeah, yeah. And so the issue when I read Project 2027, one of the key aspects is getting the agents to be able to talk to each other as they move, through the solution space. And we've spent a ton of time to arrive at this design, which specifies how the agents talk to each other. And then I'm saying, like, maybe there's just a thin layer on top where we can take these primitives. They don't need to be platform level hooks, but we take these primitives and run the agents in a Dreamcatcher configuration, where the Dreamcatcher configuration is, it's not really designed for humans. A human could use it, and ambient attribution isn't really about being fair to humans. It's about being meritocratic, or saying that these agents, for whatever reason, we don't know. That's the thing about deep learning. We don't actually know. These agents did good, and these other agents did not do good. And so the good agents they get replicated, right? That's what genes do. The good agents get to live more. Sorry, I ran out of good words there. It doesn't really apply, but you know what I
No,
mean.
no, I get what you're saying because throughout, really, what ambient attribution is doing is to try and um, equally distribute resource and incentives in the most efficient way in order to allow innovation um, uh, to occur. It's about, you know, you've got a problem. How much pain have you got in that problem? Therefore, we've got escrow. Then we got, the builders coming in going, that's maybe a bit lower than I wanted, but yeah, I'm good with that. So the fairness comes out with the most efficient distribution of resources,
Yeah.
which is certainly something that can be optimized. And that optimization is probably going to benefit from some kind of Darwinianism.
It must
This will,
do. Like Darwinism's not there just because like it's
oh no,
there
it's
because it's the best way to do things. It's
it's
not
a
even the
brute
best
fact.
way. It's like the only way that things work in the physical world.
Yeah, it's an absolute brute fact for anything that ever wants to fight against the second law of thermodynamics.
It's
You
almost
could
right.
talk to
Like it's
thermodynamics and yeah, everyone chills,
you're like, okay,
literally.
was that a pun?
Um,
Because man,
but if you want to build anything, is you need that. It's an interesting thought you've got here.
I think the Dreamcatcher algorithm is better suited as a way of commanding swarms of agents where you use network warfare based tactics, which is to say push the decision making out, where ambient attribution makes sure that the right agents get fueled more,
But also, the wrong agents get starved.
the wrong agents get defueled. Yeah,
Yeah.
which is similar actually to how reinforcement learning works, but kind of as a unit. Like it tries to make all the neurons detect good, bad, preferred, reward, no reward. And now we're saying, well, now if we take multiple instances of that, surely that same race occurs, you know? It's almost like cells have their own battle for survival, and then you make mammals or other life forms that are multicellular. They then go and have their own battle, not a cellular battle, but the next scale up, right? And an agent is the next scale up of the reinforcement learning
Hmm.
brain
It's
cell,
interesting. If we were to build that, it would find so many solutions for problems that we didn't actually know existed.
right? But then the
An
question
embarrassment of
comes
solutions.
again, like who, if the humans aren't really, do the humans need to be part of that? If that's really just the inner workings of this massive thing that's
I
burning a lot of power and tokens, but it just presents like a simple flashing cursor that's like, hey, what
yeah,
do you want to
I
do next?
suspect. Yeah, we still need humans in there, but the reason isn't
They're
necessarily
not, they might
obvious.
not
It's like
be
an
the dream,
agitation.
yeah, they might not be the Dreamcatcher participants that we'd imagined. You know, like it's almost like at that scale, participation in the Dreamcatcher is done through tooling. Like you and I would look at the ecosystem and we'd run queries and bots and agents and we'd be like, I think we need to shift this whole team of agents in this direction. Or humans would come in and put token credits down where we're like, I'm going to put 10 grand worth of token credits over here to try and steer the agents towards it.
Well, yeah, but yes, I agree. But what you just said there is where I think humans are necessary. So humans in Darwinian terms are like cosmic rays knocking off a bit of DNA. Is that Darwinism doesn't um, perform unless you get a little bit of chaos in there. And so someone putting $10,000 on, you know, they're not going to just do it blindly. It's like, well, maybe they will. A bit like, these um, investment funds. They just say, we're just going to track the FTSE 100
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
going on. But if you've got an idea or a preference, it's going, I'm going to put $10,000 on anything that can make me more money in crypto. I don't really care what it is. Go. That is a perturbation in the network because otherwise the network is just going to go quite still. It might
I
take a
think that
long
you're
time to
wrong
go
there.
still.
I agree with you that yeah, the perturbations are valuable from the people. I agree with you that they will probably be there anyway. Like humans will be consuming the services of the network. They'll be complaining about the services. Some of them will be giving oversight and steerage.
Yeah,
Fine.
yeah,
But I
yeah,
do not agree that the network will go stale if it was just bots. I think the network would be very lively for the next, at a guess, I'd say 5 years. The network would be very lively from just bots. It'll eventually go stale because it'll run out of sparkle
yeah.
at some point. Like the the thing about ideas is that because they're countable, like I believe that humans might not have a limit to what they can ultimately comprehend. They're just very slow at it. But
Yeah.
bots, it seems they have this sort of limit on what any generation of bot can understand, and so they kind of top out. And so there'll be this flare of activity that will look like genius and discovery, but really it's busy saturating its reach, and then
The
it
problem
sort of
space.
gets
Yeah,
stuck.
yeah. It's going to be able to explore very rapidly, far more than
Yeah,
our old system,
yeah,
where we effectively have the same system with humans as agents. And we're saying, well, you create agents as the agents in that same system. It's going to explore the problem space very, very fast, very,
yeah,
very rapidly,
yeah.
and then at some point, it's going to just run out of. It's going to be trying to, you know, design a better spoon.
It'll have saturated. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
and then that um, provocation from outside will allow it then to percolate out now, and maybe there's a new branch up here, and it's like we don't need a spoon, we need a straw, whatever. Um, Usage is the obvious way of doing it. So, in effect, we had four types of humans who are going to originally interact with uh, ambient attribution. And what we're seeing now is really there's one type, which is like the user, and the user is there to prod the beast. And the beast is constantly looking at the problem space.
summon the demon, and the
Yeah.
demon goes off and does stuff.
It sounds very compute heavy, but
Well, that was luckily
what's the
for
problem?
us, there's a heavy computer being built.
Here's a
So
data center that looks a lot like it looks like a standard GPU.
it looks a lot like the chips it houses, right? So
Yeah.
what it is this hall and this hall are around about 500 million US each. Um, this one, and there's another one, two, three, four, five. There's another six in here somewhere.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They're all about a 400 million, 500 million type of
Where are they
deal.
getting the power for this? I've not
Well,
read up
those
on.
are natural gas turbines, and they apparently generate all that they need. So each hall is about 160 megawatts, I think it was.
And I don't see any cooling. This might be an early photo. They might have
No, I
had to
think
build it,
that's the
but where's the
cooling.
cooling?
I think that's the cooling, but I'm just guessing.
Oh, I assume those are the standby Jennings. Um,
Nah, because these are gas turbines. They power the the thing. Yeah, it takes in food from the grid, but anyway, these are about a gigawatt, and I was running some questions past Codex, and it estimates that each one of these halls can generate about 2 billion tokens a second,
okay.
whilst burning 160 megawatts. So
Oh, that's interesting. So there's a metric there on watts per token.
watts per
Huh.
token, yeah. So it turns out that our for about a million tokens worked out to something like 3 kilowatts or something, or no,
Uh-huh.
0.3 of a kilowatt or something like that. So
Yeah.
basically, like we should be able to generate enough load that like we need our own gas turbine generated to cover it. Like
Well, yeah, but that's clanky stuff we can,
the systems
do.
we're talking about with the agents, yes, they are compute heavy, but who are the humans that are in the control seat of these things? And is it an open source system? And
Mm,
what's it called? Like, given that I just
what do you
explained.
mean? Sorry, can you take a step back? What do you mean by open source? Because I was approached by my old CEO to say, "Hey, you free to help on a data center design down in London?"
Hmm.
Um, and the pattern of it is is open source because, frankly, it's data centers are really quite simple.
No, what I'm talking about is our agentic platform because we were just describing how we can see a way to generate a very large amount of agentic load using the Dreamcatcher as the incentive mechanism for the agents to pursue goals, right?
Yeah, to deploy resources.
Yeah, and some of those goals might be proxy goals like money. It's like, well, we've got our internal value system, which is tokens or some other thing, and then we've got these external goals that also matter. And it's like, well, everyone needs to get on board with making money, otherwise we can't pay for the tokens, which you really want.
Hmm. I mean, what you're saying is right. It seems a stretch goal, but what you're saying is absolutely right. If you had an agentic system that was, because of the stuff we're doing with ambient attribution, works, you're taking all the emotion out of it, right?
Mm,
You're just looking at where best to put the resources.
correct.
So, the funder puts money in, builder does work, these are the agents. The builder also makes money, and so where does that go?
Mm,
Tokens per watt
mm.
goes back into a funder. And so then it's a matter of prioritization of tasks. And then you're searching your task base, which task, if completed, would get the best result. And along the way, of course, you can have output as like a bit like a ion engine, isn't it? You can have an output saying, well, we're going to go off and get more money in order to pay for the gas going into the gas turbines, and that is quite a high priority. And so maybe only 20% of the overall compute is on solving new problems, and 80% is on solving solved problems in order to get cash, in order to pay for the gas. It kind of makes sense. It seems huge to think about, but when you boil it down, yeah, there's no flaw in your logic in
It's
any of
it's
this.
not it's not huge. It's not huge because it's a ratio proposition. It's saying that if we only got to make like 1% margin on every token that gets burned, and we'll be doing really well.
Well, this is the thing, isn't it? This is the magic money box. Stick a dollar in, you get a dollar 1 cent out. Happy
Right?
days.
So long as it's
Stick
not
stick a
99
dollar
cents
in, you
back.
get 99 cents out. Then you're stuffed.
Right.
Yeah,
And so what I want to propose to you is a way of thinking about that problem differently. Let's ignore the scale, right? Because scale is like it's like fusion generators. It's like if you can
yeah,
tip anywhere over one, you're
yeah,
you're good. Like
yeah.
and it's the same for us. And I find it hard to imagine that we wouldn't be able to get 1 point something. Um. So
Certainly in the early days of exploring the problem space. because there's so many problems.
Well, the
Uh,
saturation, it's unclear if saturation is permanent or or what, but saturation feels like it will take a few years. No matter how fast you build these data centers, saturation will not occur for a couple of years.
well, I'm going to be quite ballsy on that one, in that I don't think saturation can ever be met because the problem space expands with the number of solutions. Um,
I don't know how we would have a bet on this one, but I actually think that for any given AI model, it saturates.
no, I'm talking about this problem space, so I'm model agnostic on that one. But yes, you might well be true. That
Mm.
might well be
All
true.
right, so the way I want to propose to you then is to present a biological metaphor for what agents are. So we have like one agent, right? It doesn't make much sense to say, okay, this agent's going to get killed and this agent's going to get to live, and this one did a good job, this one did a bad job, because they're all kind of much of a muchness. Now, you
Mm,
could change the prompt, you could change the instructions, and you might get slightly better, slightly worse, whatever. But the biggest, the biggest factor in the success of whether a problem gets solved is actually in the teamwork aspect. And so I would propose that a workflow or a pattern, an agentic pattern, we can run many different variations of patterns against problems, and we can strengthen the ones that work well. So if a particular pattern is solving problems well, then it gets rewarded with more tokens and more patterns. But patterns that don't work out get killed. And the idea is that agents should be able to make or come up with new patterns. Like I could make a simple piece of code that just generated random patterns. Like the agents should be able to assemble very novel patterns very easily. Those patterns should have subcomponents and reusable components and all that. And what I would put to you as a metaphor is that if an agent was a cell, then a pattern might be a living organism. And so an ecosystem forms where different patterns are good for different things, and the output of some goes into the output of others. The useful ones, the ones that form symbionts with the ecosystem, they stick around and the other ones don't. And the thing is, patterns can be raced against each other. Single agents, not so much because the variance isn't really there, but patterns can be used as a way to say that that's what evolves. And so the DNA of a system like that is the pattern molecule, or the structure of the pattern is the thing that gets copied if it was successful, but also tweaked and varied to try and get improvements out of it. So that's really the evolutionary plane, is the patterns, because we know that there's an unlimited number of patterns. They have wildly varying effects. The space is too big to try them all. It's gonna have to be an iterative survival of the fittest reward mechanism type system that arranges these patterns to do different things, because we know you can't have one agent that does it all. You cannot have that. But patterns might be able to do everything. Like it might be that GPT-5 Codex right now in the appropriate pattern can solve any problem. Maybe. Maybe.
hmm I agree, and I have to be careful of confirmation bias in agreeing. The reason I agree is way back in the early 90s, did some work with the Santa Fe Institute on artificial life, and this was all they talked about: patterns and emergent behavior. And back then, they're talking about the game of life and so on, but they're building, ant colonies that did really quite miraculous stuff. Now, the hard piece that I'm not entirely sure they ever solved was, um, how do you how do you say what is better and what's worse. It's the selection of um, the pressure on the system that directs the system, not
The
the
fitness function.
yeah, the fitness function. The
Mm.
cellular items are well, take game of life. There's only like three real. Well, there's four rules, but
Right.
most
We
people take
can we
three.
can make a fitness function, and I think that that's actually partly the ambient attribution algorithm. We can make a fitness function. It can be humanly tuned, so we know how to make an ambient attribution algorithm that takes in feedback from humans. So we could
Okay.
apply that thing to the environment of patterns to do the culling, and then humans looking from the outside can argue, even bots can argue and be like, I don't think that you should have attributed that way because of these reasons, and that gets smarter. But more importantly, because we're in virtual land, we have the ability to make multiple competing fitness functions, even. So you don't have to be compelled to, like, nature has kind of only one fitness function, and you can sort of, it seems self evident
Uh,
why that is, right? Because there's only one reality,
well,
apparently.
actually, no, you've hit on something quite important there. I would disagree. It has one fitness thing because people always think survival of the fittest is survival of the best. It's like, well, best against compared with what? Are you in the Arctic? Are you in a desert? Are you in a tropical rainforest? Different pressures,
Right,
completely different pressures.
right.
But the fact that there is a fitness algorithm is really important. So the idea of competing fitness algorithms is absolutely fine. I will maybe hesitate at saying that there is a best fitness algorithm. I think maybe like different areas in the
Oh, look, we
on the
don't
earth.
know is the point. Like,
Yeah,
we'll sort of pick one ourselves, or like, we're going to fund the one that we like. I mean, that's a form of fitness function. You know,
right. Yeah,
the
yeah.
bad one
The
doesn't get
first one.
any more tokens.
But the I guess what you're saying or implying is that we could generate an arbitrary number of fitness
Yeah,
algos and
yeah.
allow them to
It's like
compete.
generating parallel worlds where the rules of nature were slightly different each time to see if you get better results. Like, who's to say, right? Like, maybe that's what happened in this world where there was like a lot of trials, and it's like, well, this isn't really. Oh, hang on, we've got something.
Oh yeah, yeah, and there's lots of debate around, you know, whether Silicon Life is available somewhere else, and I'm sure that the fitness algorithm is going to be different for silicon as carbon.
Yeah, it's funny though. Like,
Um,
you can sort of imagine that in a universe born of chaos, it's unlikely that a silicon chip spontaneously appeared with the ability to make more silicon chips.
Not
Like,
impossible. It might have spontaneously assembled itself.
it
It's just
seems,
highly, highly unlikely.
yeah, mind you, so is cellular life, right? But anyway, I digress somewhat. I'm just saying that it would appear that the cell itself is all but perfected. Like, it's not, when you think of a cell like these agents that we have, like, what more is it really going to be?
Well, that I think, from what you've been saying, was the thing that sparked most interest in listening to you. The idea that agents are effectively cells. This,
Yeah,
if you take it at cellular level, it's got information inside of it. It
yeah,
does a thing.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And
Um,
I don't know if you saw that graph I showed you, which tried to map the cellular diameters and number of cells that were ever alive in that sort of model version of a cell. But the size range, it's like, I think it was like 100 microns, 1 to 400 microns was the sort of range that only ever
yeah,
worked. And so there's a lot less variance in cellular design than there is in organism design. So all of the cells are generally the same. Like, you could think of a human body as like a whole bunch of the same agent that's just cis prompted differently. And pretty much every cell is really the same, but just different working instructions, except for things like the reproductive cells, like a sperm and an egg, are like a special cis prompted differently cell. You know, like, what I'm trying to say that the unit of agency that we have in hand now, it has weird ceilings. Like a single agent like this, it can only be so big. It can only be so small because otherwise it can't talk to other cells or it will die or not work. And so, what are you going to do? Like, make the codex model better? Yeah, maybe. But still, what else is it going to do? Like, it's not going to suddenly become that much more, right? What's going to become a lot more is the assemblage of the cells. That's where
No,
the action is at.
I full totally agree with that. Um, and I was saying this to our friend in Georgia the other day when I called him. Made a comment which he found fascinating. I just made it off the cuff. It was like AJ is already here. We just haven't assembled it yet.
It's just not widely assembled. But you also don't know if, like, you don't know what's happening inside these data center halls either, because it could be that many other people have been thinking about this longer and harder than us, and they're like,
Almost certainly, yeah.
right, and then it's so blatantly obvious to me that the temptation, the logical move is to go dark. You're like, quick, shut the
Yes.
door, turn off the lights, act like no one's home.
Well, that was the one of the premises on that video they sent over the other day, about a week ago, where they retain their best frontier model, keep that dark in order to train the
Right,
next model.
but it's not even really the model that matters, it's the agentic patterns that matter. Like, if we have a way to evolve patterns, like, so what? Like, what?
It's that selection criteria is the curious beast about that, and for sure, it seems almost a matter of tokens burn. We could uh, create patterns. We could get an agent to create random patterns. We could get agents to change their own sys prompts.
There'll be
And
a couple that will show very quickly, right? Like, if you take the seagull, like, a seagull
should,
is a wildly successful design. In fact, it's so
yeah,
successful that everyone hates it. But in the first few runs, we should be able to find the seagulls, the rats, the dog, all the, like, the wheat
mm,
grain, the ones that are like, well, you can fucking change this a little bit here, a little bit there, but honestly, you're gonna want the genetically modified wheat grain.
yeah, yeah. Well, the crocodiles. I'm a big fan of crocodiles, who are just why their pattern has survived so long. It's like wild.
Different
400
rules,
million
right?
years.
Different rules. So what are we gonna do, Maxwell?
I think your idea here is right. It seems beyond our ability to do for now.
Oh, come on,
But
it's
then,
not that hard.
well, no, it's a matter of cash, though, isn't it?
No,
Because we're talking about if we're to create an ecosystem that had
it
lots
only
of dead
has to
ends.
be profitable or entertaining, right? Like, it may be that, like, with the cash we have, we could run a pretty hearty ecosystem for a time. It's just it needs to output something to re up itself.
For the I don't know. I really don't want to go down this route, but this idea does sound patentable, and that patent is valuable in terms of licensing. Maybe that's a way to think about.
Oh no. Please
It's,
don't make
I
me
know,
write
I
more
know, I
patents.
know, I know. But a portion, if it was self-stoking, magic box, $1 in, $1 1 cent out. There isn't a single investor on the planet who won't want to pour as much money into it as possible. Why wouldn't you?
That's right. But I don't want that.
No, and
I
this is what I'm
want
thinking. It sounds quite big, but the idea is a good one. I mean, the idea emerges from Santa Fe AL guys, use of AI
this is
agents.
getting
Your
stupid. Like,
concept.
we're not made for closed source, but closed is honestly the move.
Um, yeah, we talked about that last time, and
We're no
I
further
still
on with
struggle
it,
with
are
that,
we?
but I can't fault the logic. It just feels wrong.
Yeah.
But the logic is right.
All right.
Right
So
now,
okay.
all
So
the
we
egos
got this
are.
platform. We got the platform. We've got an understanding of what an agentic cell is. We know that the cell's not going to change very much. Sure, the model will get better. Whoop de fluff and do. Um, we know that the future is patterns. We know that we need an ecosystem that provides a competitive environment to find the best ones and to allow them to adapt on the fly to solve problems that, you know, no human came up with. Like, it should be able to solve problems that it found and then
Yeah,
it
we don't
solved
know.
them and then it moved
Yeah.
on and we're like, oh, you okay, fine. So there's all that, but really, I guess my narrow concerns are: have we got enough platform to do that? Sounds like yes. I mean,
Well, yes, I think.
I think, right? Like, because what are you going to do? Like, every problem from here on in, it's like, how do we do blah, blah, blah? And I'm like, prompting, right?
Right. And then as soon as you get into the prompting thing, the number of ways you can prompt explodes. But
It's
none of them
it
touch
goes
on.
bananas, right? It
Yeah.
goes
But
absolutely bananas.
at no point yet have I been able to say this agent needs a new core
A new platform
function.
function, right? Now, it might
Yeah,
need, like, to interact with external systems, but that's
sure.
fine.
But then we talked about APIs and so on. We can wrap those in agents and get agents to talk to agents.
I
So
feel like
it's
I want childish things now. Like, the things I wanted seem stupid. I wanted an email server. I wanted a phone server, right? And I'm like, those things seem a little bit goofy. It's like, why would I?
yeah, yeah, I get that. It's like really what I want, and even this is sounding a bit goofy given the conversation we've got. I want to be able to talk to a screen and get it to do whatever it needs to do in order to do what I want it to do. And I
What do
don't
you
want
want
to,
it to do though? It's kind of
yeah, I don't want to touch email. I don't want to touch text. I don't want to take phone calls. I don't want to type. I just
hmm.
want to talk to this thing. But even that, in terms of patterns, seems a bit goofy because maybe there's a better pattern. I don't know. Maybe there is.
Buggeration. Okay, so it seems also like CocoaNet is an essential thing. Like, not just for us, but for everyone. I think where I guess I died a little bit is I sort of am questioning if we need to put in this level of effort for other people.
Mm-hmm. Um,
But maybe that's the sin, I suppose. Maybe that's the evil, the temptation is to say, well, we are sitting on what is a massive information gradient, and the temptation is to say, let's just leverage it because these fuckers are. And
I don't know, man. Maybe. Uh, like it feels a lot like how Nikola Tesla must have felt. He died in penury, even though his ideas were correct.
what to do, Maxwell?
Hmm. Well, I think, you know, your thoughts and patterns are absolutely aligned with um, what has already been proven and well
Yeah,
thought through
that's where the money's going,
around
right?
AL. Yeah.
Yeah. So if we made cocoa, then you can do. If you make cocoa, you can be open about what you're doing and about all these patterns because you can make the that layer that does the reward management, the ambient attribution layer can be Coco controlled and beyond reproach. Like no one can reach in and grab it. No one can take the knowledge base. You can't exfiltrate the data. You're kind of making this confidential and hidden intelligence that no one can download and look inside of, but you can all use to your benefit.
But you kind of want it auditable as well. You want to say, what are the decisions? What's the prompting of this black
Oh
box?
yeah, you could do all that.
But then as soon as you do that, it's copyable. Someone else can go,
No,
oh,
it's
there you
not.
go.
It's not. You don't need to audit all the things like the the artificial intelligence part, the inference part is allowed to stay completely hidden, but then you're just auditing its outputs. You're like, oh, then you said this, and then you said that, and then you did that. Okay, like
No, that's
it's
true. But
right.
you could obfuscate the actual pattern by saying when
Well,
this
no,
pattern.
in Coco, I think that if you had Coco, you could make the patterns completely open and available. The trick is like I'd be totally happy to go open with it if we knew that we were the dominant environment, like that we weren't in danger of being snuffed out by a closed, restrictive environment.
Well, there's the rub, isn't it? It's like if we give too much information, that is like someone with a few 100 billion goes, oh, that's a good idea. Let's do that.
Yeah, and then they
Um,
ramp up, we get
I'm
snuffed,
I'm not
they
entirely
own the
sure.
thing, and then
We have got
everyone loses.
we have got for a white wee while the benefit of obscurity, but we can't guarantee on that. Um,
As soon as our token burn gets significant, we're going to be spotted. But look, the only thing I can think of is I really don't feel like sharing this thing is going to help us right now because people will come in and they'll be like, oh, I want to do this thing. And I'm like, I don't think I have the
well,
time to.
here's a thought. Maybe we could put up some blogs on this thinking. We haven't put up a blog for a while because
That's
then
right.
it becomes prior art. So if anyone wants to steal it and then patent it and protect it and do all that kind of
Right. But
thing,
I don't think patenting it's going to really matter. Like if you build a data center in Tanzania, you don't have to really follow bugger all patents, really. You just
well,
sit there with the desert sun fueling all your equipment, thinking
that's
away.
true. But on the kind of wider world scale, if we could establish prior art, as you know,
Yeah, but
with
you're not trying
Paul,
to. The thing, this is why it's different. It's a brain. You don't care about selling it, you just want to use it.
well, also, but you don't want to have someone come along and steal it and then lock the market, so
But,
you can't
but there, yeah,
actually
but you're
use it.
assuming there is a market. Like if in a lot of countries, I can assemble a patented item for personal use without any problem. If I had my own data center,
Well, at the moment, bizarrely, we've got two data centers being built. I don't know whether we should dive in and influence because it's not our money.
how did you?
Um,
Yeah, yeah.
uh,
I feel like we got what we wanted, but now I don't know what to do with it. So we know that one good problem is to turn this system on, telling us what to do next, right? And going through all the options and being like, here's your next move, right?
yeah, exactly. It's like it almost feels like, hey, we've cracked fusion. What we're going to do? Let's boil some water and get a cup of tea. It's like that's probably not the best use. Right? Um, we need to keep on talking about this. I don't have any good answers other than I think something you said is quite important. I think there's going to be a chunk of resources needed to push forward patterns and what do you call it?
I think
Ambient
we've got
patterns.
enough. I think we've got enough
Uh,
resources to do it. I think that
well, all we need to do is just keep the lights on and keep the, you know,
keep the
Starlink,
tokens burning.
going, and yeah, pay for tokens and
I think we've
our,
got enough.
well, then do we go and try and find 20, 30 million to like wrap it up?
Uh,
Yeah, that's possible. We could do that. It's just a pain in the arse to do.
I believe the system can figure out how to earn.
Well, that's the other way. It could bootstrap, right?
I think it could figure out how to earn for itself, and I don't think it needs to be selling investment or
The happy path is that uh, we get enough coming in to pay for tokens plus, you know,
tokens plus.
traffic
Yeah,
and just to, keep us going.
right. But then that becomes a growth rate thing, right? And then
Yeah.
it's like how fast can we grow? And we'd only need like external cash if it came to the point of, well, we just need money and then we can amplify this thing. But that in an AI world, that never seems to happen. It's like you'd
Well,
never.
yeah,
The
the
only
thing with,
sort of extra money you'd need is like we need to acquire things, like we need to buy this land or this mine or this business or something like that,
all right, it's almost like Sorcerer's Apprentice, that Mickey Mouse thing.
right?
It's like if if we kind of get that growth and we keep ourselves, above the waterline while doing it, then it's just a matter of an exponential use
That's
of
the thing, right?
resources.
Like exponential growth is very, very surprisingly rapid. Like it's
Yeah,
alarmingly rapid. And
yeah. Well,
so,
depending on the doubling time, but yeah, yeah.
well, if it's AI, the doubling time is going to be pretty good, right?
It could be too fast to keep up with. It could be,
Well,
next
that's what
morning.
we want, though, right? Like, we want
Yeah,
it doing more stuff than we can keep control of it.
maybe, maybe we. It's a big bet, but maybe we should. So long as it gives a sliver, enough to. I really, I'm loath to go on any kind of road trip, raise cash and so on, because you know how much time that takes
We
and
don't need it.
how
I don't think we need
uncertain it
it.
is and so on. And I'm even kind of loath to go on a kind of marketing push, and it's like because that is um, hugely expensive and uncertain and takes time and so on. It's almost like we need the thing to do its thing. Uh, yeah. What do we do with it?
Well, I don't know. I'll stop the recording here. I think we've sort of saturated that problem. Was there
Yeah.
anything else you wanted to go over before I stop?
No, other than fuck, we've got a big gun